Are we live? We are live. And there's no one here yet. So, we will just wait for people to arrive. It is Sunday. I hope that everybody's having a good Sunday. I spent the morning working on a vacuum cleaner. So, I need some cereal at midnight. Hopefully, you guys, I see at least somebody has started to show up. I need some cereal at midnight. I know you guys might need some cereal at midnight. I really feel tired. And we got our Halloween decorations up over the course of the morning. And so now I just feel very just like, So we'll give you guys a few more minutes to stroll in, find your seats. Is everybody doing okay today? Sunday going okay? I should take my glasses off so there's not too much. Glasses off. Hey. Glasses on. It's kind of a contrast. I'm not sure which. I can see the comments better with my glasses. I'm just going to leave them on. We're going to roll with them on. So I do want to. Somebody Jamie says it's cold. It's cold. Well, because of where you are. So it was like, I think it's like 86 here. But this week, it's going to be close to 90. So are you guys going to be warming up? I know you guys have been out doing the fall festival thing, like the harvest hay rides or whatever. And here, it's still beach weather. So it's hard to get excited about Halloween. Like the Reese's Bats video where I'm sweating like metaphor redacted. So it's just hard because it's still so hot. It should be time for Halloween, but not. It's too hot for that. So, okay. I do want to say up front. Let's see. We will be produced by producer Bree once again. So I'm keeping an eye on things. Actually, while I say that, let me pull up my screen here so I can see the comments more readily. But I am going to let myself be produced in this video. Is it under the live streaming? Is that where you're at? Producer Bree? Because I'm not seeing this live stream.
To your videos and it said you
Did it?
Started a live stream.
Maybe I just need to reload the page.
Probably.
Page. This is fantastic. Yeah, it's not there. So we will be... it's not there. It's not in my videos. So, okay. Well, fantastic. Live. Hopefully nothing as traumatic happens during this live stream as the last one with the cat surprise. But let's see. Where is the live stream? All right, I'm just going to abandon it. I'm going to be completely in your hands, producer Bree. Flying blind. Okay, well, so I will just go ahead and close that screen. So I do want to say up front before we even get started, I've been looking for a public opportunity to thank some of the financial backers of Cereal at Midnight. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Just Mason, Comic Book Savant, and I don't know, so Michelle, we'll call her Michelle C. I don't know if she has a YouTube handle, and if you do, Michelle, I'm sorry. But I want to thank you both I'll thank the three of you for your financial donations to Cereal at Midnight via the PayPal link at cerealatmidnight.com. So thank you publicly. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And there's also a question that was sent in absentee. So I will say Sega CD Universe? That's his handle, right? Wanted to know, he couldn't be here because it's his anniversary, so happy anniversary, brother. And he wanted to know what my three questions. What was my favorite blaxploitation movie? It was the first one. And I think it's probably Foxy Brown with Pam Grier. And it was directed by Jack Hill, who's one of the great blaxploitation directors. Hey, do you want to be on camera? What is on your head? So this is this little girl is growing quickly. What's your favorite blaxploitation movie? It's like Chuck Turner. So the second, I would also say that I also do really like Black Dynamite from Michael Jai. Is it Jai White? Is that how you pronounce his middle name? Anyway, I do really like that as a more modern blaxploitation movie, but I don't, because it's kind of a parody, so I don't know if we can really say it's blaxploitation, right? It is. And then he also wanted to know what was the other aspect of the question? What was my favorite sleepaway camp movie? I've only ever seen the first one, so that's the one. I know there's more, but I've only seen the first one. So the first one, I guess. And then the third question was, what is my favorite RPG video game? And it's gonna sound cliche and like tired probably, but it's Final Fantasy VII, because that game, I played Final Fantasy before, like on the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, but Final Fantasy VII, like, it was so, I was in college, I had a little more free time to play it, and I would just sink every bit of free time that I had into Final Fantasy VII. And I remember when I beat it, I was just like, what do I do now? Who am I? Who am I after Final Fantasy VII in relationship to who I was before? So I know that Final Fantasy VII is obviously probably the most famous RPG for the PlayStation. And we PlayStation and Classic, and it has been announced now, right? And I don't know if they've said, I don't think they've named everything that's going to be on there, but they haven't announced Final Fantasy VII, right? And if that's not going to be on that console, what's the point? What's the point of that? Or what's the point of not having Metal Gear Solid on there? So hopefully that will be forthcoming. Also, it's like $100 for the PlayStation Classic, which I think is too much. But anyway, so do you have any questions, Producer Bree, that are waiting for me? Mm-hmm. You do? Okay.
Yeah, well, first I'm going to share this person's story.
Okay, we're sharing a story.
Illinois Passion.
Can I just, I don't know that people can hear you.
Yeah. Well, you have to reshare.
Okay.
Illinois Passion.
Illinois Passion.
This
is your story, Illinois Passion.
Said that they had seen or read something. I'd have to scroll back up.
They'd seen or read something about...
Oh, a video on being scammed on buying online.
Yes, scammed online.
And they bought 4 Star Wars DVDs in the silver box on eBay.
4 Star Wars DVDs in a silver box on eBay.
And got 4 Phantom Menace DVDs.
I bought 4 silver box Star Wars movies, and they were all Phantom Menace. That's mean. Look, I like Phantom Menace. That movie is a punching bag for a lot of people, but I like Phantom Menace. Like, I recognize the problems, but that's tough. That's really tough. It's funny though. It's a good story.
You can laugh about it later.
Yeah, you can laugh about it now, right?
They said they can hear me.
Oh, they can hear you. Okay, great.
You
should speak super Southern. Next question is.
I don't want to do that. Maybe
okay.
Later. Donnell Coleman asked, "Are you going to watch WWE Super Showdown pay-per-view and the WWE Evolution pay-per-view?"
Donald Coleman wants to know if I'm going to watch the WWE, basically WWE pay-per-views. I am not. I'm on a break from the WWE because I just got so tired of the same stuff being recycled over and over. Also, I don't know. It's this weird pattern where I would I love the WWE in theory, and I will show you guys the WWE DVD collection at some point. It's well over 100 items. Like, it's a lot of DVDs. Too many DVDs. But it's not too many. You can't have too many. But I would find myself, like, as I would watch the network, and because of the model that exists now with, like, pay-per-views and, it's now, like, basically every 3 weeks is a super card. Nothing happens. NXT for sure. NXT is where good wrestling has gone for the WWE. That's the best wrestling that the WWE produces. But because of the supercards being like every 3 weeks, nothing really happens and nothing ever really matters. And I just got so tired of seeing like Roman Reigns. Like, I have no problem with Roman Reigns. Like, as a person, as a wrestler, I don't have any issue with him. But when he was the main event, pay-per-view after pay-per-view, I was like, I'm so bored with this. And then they took Nakamura and AJ Styles, both of whom I freaking love, and they turned out matches that just weren't very good. And I think it's a WWE creative problem and a writing problem, and I think that they overthink things. But I don't know. I tend to be more old school. I love 80s wrestling. I came for, like, that's when my fandom for wrestling developed, was in the 80s, and it was a lot more, it was just more protected then, in the sense of that, like, you couldn't, like, those characters on TV were protected. Hulk Hogan was not wrestling every single week, or he wasn't wrestling every single pay-per-view. And it just felt, there were a lot of squash matches on TV, and they felt big and powerful and strong. And then when, like when Macho Man was going to wrestle Hulk Hogan, it felt huge. It felt absolutely epic. And I just get burned out a lot more quickly now. Because it just feels more disposable. The feuds are like, used to, a feud would build for a year or for 6 months or whatever, and now a feud's over in just a couple of months. So they'll build the feud and then don't even pay it off. So I do like wrestling, but I just got so fed up with it. I'm in a break period right now. I took a break after, it was after WrestleMania. I'm trying to figure out, it was between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. And I was just like, I am not enjoying this. And they're like 3-4 hours, like the 4-hour pay-per-views just kill it, man. I'm just like, ugh, I cannot stay invested in a 4-hour pay-per-view, let alone like a 5 or 6 hour WrestleMania. So no, I won't be watching it, but I do love that. And I probably will at some point circle back around and check out what I've missed, when I personally am not so burned out on it.
So one Imagination's Addict said that was an adorable cat, which we very much
Imagination Attic is that is an adorable cat.
And Jamie Mason wants to know, what are our cats' names?
Jamie, our cat's names are, so the little kitten is Bianca. The huge 20-something pound cat that I don't know that she'll ever be on camera because she's grumpy. But her name is Bolivia, because her cat mom, is a Spanish teacher, and that's what Spanish teachers name their cats. And then the middle dude he's the only dude cat that we've got, and his name is Loki. And he was so mischievous when he was younger, but he has settled in to be the most solid, upright cat. Like, he's just a good dude. Like, he's mellow, even-tempered all the time. He's like, he goes away for long periods of time, and you're like, I wonder where Loki is. And then he'll just be like, and there he is, and he's just like, what's up? And you're like, oh, hey, man. I started calling him bro, because he's just a little bro. He's not like your traditional cat. Like, he's not like, he doesn't like claw the curtains or get into mischief or anything like that. He's just a solid little dude. And when the kitten came along, we expected we expected Bolivia to, don't mess with that light. We expected, that was to a cat, not to my wife. We expected the other girl cat to like mentor the kitten, and she doesn't want anything to do with the kitten. So Loki has become like big brother, dad cat, whatever, and he has the patience of Job. Like, this little kitten will jump on his head and like licking his ears, and he's just like, and sometimes he'll have had enough, and he'll just like, I gotta go, and so he'll just quietly sashay away. So that's the 3 cats.
Well, Jamie also asked, would you ever write a wrestling storyline?
Jamie, would I ever write a wrestling storyline? I don't know. I've never thought about that. I've never fantasy booked or anything like that. Theoretically, I could, but the thing, I don't know. That took me by surprise. I don't know.
I don't know is a valid answer. Yes, I would, and it would be amazing, and it would build for months, and then the payoff would be, there'd be no dusty finishes with like no payoffs. It would be epic, and everything would be changed. It's easy to say, but it's hard to do. Donnell Coleman asked, is using Fire Stick illegal, like bootleg?
Donald wants to know if using Fire Stick is illegal. I don't even know what that is. So, I don't know. What, like a Kindle Fire Stick? I don't know. Maybe. Can you elaborate on your question? And I'll see if I can. But I don't know. I don't know a lot of stuff about bootlegs.
Amazon TV Fire Stick.
Amazon TV Fire Stick. I don't know a lot of stuff about bootleg stuff, honestly. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Like how?
Yeah, there's a ton.
Oh, we'll just start rolling them out.
Well, 2 comments.
Turn left and gargle. Turn left, then gargle. Excuse me. Said the collection behind you is very impressive. And also asked, do you ever watch any foreign language horror movies?
Who was that again? Turn left.
Then gargle.
Turn left and gargle. The collection? Thank you. I will be doing a video on it soon. I wanted to show. I'm not sure how to approach a video for this. This is the biggest barrier to showing you guys some of this stuff. Like, I want to show my complete Blu-ray DVD collection too, but like, it would be hours. I'm not sure how to do this. And like, so here we have, it's hundreds of trade paperbacks, and I'm not sure, do I just point the camera at it, hook up the microphone, and then just like we go through the spines and occasionally pull something out? Or, because I can't, if I took everything off the shelf, I mean, we'd be like, there'd have to be like a 35 video series, and I would be exhausted, and you'd probably be exhausted too. But do I watch any foreign language horror movies? Yes, absolutely. I've seen some Japanese horror. I'm not super, like, it doesn't really do much for me, but I've seen them. But my big jam is Italian horror. And sometimes those are, obviously, they're dubbed for different markets. But they are, like, I'm super obsessed with Italian movies of anything right now. Like, that's pretty much my passion, is just like, I'm really trying to get my hands on as many Italian movies as I can, because there's a sensibility that I don't know what it is. I guess it's just a cultural thing, but there's just a, hey, stop. You're not even doing anything. Kitten problems. But there's just like a sensibility that feels very, it's so foreign to my American sensibilities, but at the same time, I recognize it for being awesome. So yes, but Italian horror, Italian Eurocrime, Italian spaghetti westerns. I think I talked about this in live stream 1 too. I will do a video about a lot of this stuff too, but Italian horror, yes.
Was a follow-up.
Follow-up.
Jamie Mason asked, when you watch foreign movies, do you prefer dubbed or subtitles?
When I watch foreign movies, do I prefer dubbed or subtitles? Traditionally, I would say subtitles, but with, that's the right answer. I know, yes, that's the right, you can speak up. But you're like, that's the right answer.
That is the right answer.
You stupid American. But I do, like with Italian stuff, they do a lot of their own dubs, because Italian movies have to be dubbed anyway, because of the way that they're produced. Because like it goes back to Franco and like, not Mussolini, Spain. Mussolini. It goes back, but they were buddies, right? Franco and Mussolini.
They do have to be dubbed in Spain as well.
That's yes. They had to be dubbed because there were no, like, it's a whole thing. But so up until like the early 80s, maybe even later than that, Italian movies had to be dubbed, even in their own market. So you'd get like a lot of, I did get the shirt at Target. I would have to be, I've completely lost my train of thought. They would have to be dubbed anyway. So if I'm going to get a dub, and like, because with Italian movies, you have like an American actor and then like an Italian actor, and then like, well, Klaus Kinski was German, right? So like everybody would just speak their own lines in their own language, and then they just work it out in the dubs, the international dubs. So if an Italian movie has a good dub, I'll usually just watch that, because it's going to be dubbed one way or the other. It's just which dub is it. But when I watch something like when I watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or like Kung Fu movies or whatever, I do prefer subtitles. She's going to tear that skeleton off the wall.
I know. Just
holy cow.
FYI, Jamie Mason said that I was right, and that is also correct.
That is the correct answer. She just took, the kitten has just, we have a skeleton, like an adhesive skeleton. It's like a window cling skeleton that goes on the door, like piece by piece, like it's a glass door, and she just disassembled it. She just climbed the door and is chewing the bone. Okay.
Okay. Some other.
Do we need to speed up? Am I taking too long? Speed up? Okay.
John Costan asked, what's your favorite Rocky movie?
John Costan? Is that John Costan?
Yes.
Yes. What's my favorite Rocky movie? Oh boy. It's probably one, but see, I love them all. And I am not a person who says that 5 sucks. 5 is not as good. 5 has problems. But I think that they all have some value. 1 is by far the best movie. But my personal, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's Rocky 3. It is Rocky 3. Because it's so 80s and it's so like...
Is that the one with Dolph Lundgren?
That's the one with Mr. T.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, woman. a pretty fool, woman. I shouldn't do that. That's probably offensive. Doing Mr. T impressions.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But Rocky 3 has like the crazy like beach training scene where it's like Carl Weathers and Sylvester Stallone in the super short shorts and the high socks like running in slow motion, and then they like Rocky's up to speed finally, and then they have like this sweaty man hug where they're jumping up and down in slow motion. It is the cheesiest, most 80s thing, but I love it. I would not trade it for anything. So Rocky 1 is the best movie, which I just wrote about. If you guys haven't read that, I just wrapped up a 50-week writing series at fthismovie.com about the movies of 1976, and I ended with Rocky 1 because I think that it is the most important movie of that year, and I think that it has a ton to say about what was going on in society at that time and things we could learn today from Rocky 1. But no, Rocky 3 is my favorite.
Just quickly, Shane Carpenter asked, "What's the Frankenstein and Bride that you have?" In the
Shane Carpenter wants to know about Frankenstein. So these came from World Markets, which is it's a foreign market. Like it's an American store that sells things from other countries. And these are plates, I think, maybe serving trays or something for Halloween parties. And so they went on clearance at the end of, I think they're actually 2 years ago, and they were like dirt cheap. They were like $1 or something a piece. So I got Frankenstein, I got the Bride, and this is a bigger serving tray, and this one's metal. So I could put it inside my shirt like Michael Keaton in Batman '89 and be like, "You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts."
Okay.
If you speak up, I don't have to repeat the questions.
They said they could hear me.
If you just gotta yell.
I'm not gonna yell, but Rob.
Are we fighting?
Wants to know, what do you think of Creed 2 coming out, and have you seen the trailer?
What do I think of Creed 2? I'm excited about Creed 2. I have not seen the trailer. I know that it's out. I haven't seen the trailer yet. I loved Creed 1. I thought that it was a fantastic movie, and I think that it's the best way to continue that without having Sylvester Stallone like get back in the ring again or like have another one last match. I really like the idea of passing the legacy on to somebody else, and I really did like Creed. So if they want to spin that off, if there's going to be like 7 Creed movies over the next 20 years, I'm in.
Movie Guy 47 wants to know, what's your favorite graphic novel of all time?
Movie Guy 47, favorite graphic novel of all time. Movie Guy, I'm not sure. You got, like, people ask me favorites about things. I was talking to my wife about this before we started. I was like, people want to know my favorites about things, and I don't know, because I honestly, and this can be frustrating for people like people who have relationships with me find this frustrating. I'm constantly reevaluating things, and so like I'll read, like I loved The Dark Knight Returns. It's a seminal graphic novel, and then you read, like I've read The Dark Knight Returns several times, Watchmen several times. And then, 10 years later, whatever, 20 years later, I'm like, you know what? I understand why that was important, but I don't really enjoy it. So while I can recognize that those are great graphic novels for their time and for what they did, I feel further from them than I should or than I used to. So I'm constantly, things are going up the list, down the list, and every time I rewatch a movie, which I do rewatch movies all the time, we watched Solo over the weekend, and I've reevaluated that. It's mostly the same opinion that I had about it when I first saw it, but I do think that there's some serious issues there, especially in the first half. But favorite graphic novel, I don't know. Let me look. This is taking too long, and I'm sorry. I will say how about this? One of my favorite storylines is Batman Nightfall. I really like that one. I read that so many times. And for me, at my age, even after all these years, it still holds up for me. When I read that, I think it's one of the best Batman. She is attacking a Star Trek book down there. Will you address that? It's the Star Trek Next Generation Companion by Larry Nemecek, and she is rolling around on that book. She is, trying to get back. Nightfall, one of my favorite comic book stories. I also really like, I don't know, like I like discovering things. I'll have to think about that one. I'm sorry, but Nightfall is very important to me. Also, the death of Superman, but it's so sad that I don't know that I can say it's one of my favorites. The stuff that I tend to really connect with the most at right now is late 80s, early 90s stuff. And I don't know why that is. It hasn't always been that way, and it probably won't always be that way. But for right now, that seems to be the sweet spot for me. So when I read things from that era, I really get, it's probably nostalgia, but...
5-star asked, will the TWD be dead when Rick Grimes is dead?
I don't watch The Walking Dead, honestly, or read it. I've read the first trade paperback. I thought it was fine, but it wasn't something that I have continued with. I will say, if I had to guess, I would say Walking Dead is not centered around Rick Grimes. I know he's kind of a main character, but The Walking Dead is not one person. And I think that show and that comic book will go as long as there's an audience for it.
He also asked, what's your favorite zombie or favorite apocalyptic or disaster movie?
Favorite zombie or apocalyptic or disaster movie?
Or maybe all of the above.
Or maybe all of the above. Here we get into favorites again. Trying to think of all the zombies. So I will say, of all the monsters, zombies are my least favorite because I don't know why. I just have, there's something ugly about zombies that's less romantic than like vampires or werewolves or whatever. I tend to be attracted more to the gothic stuff. But having said that, I mean, I've seen a ton of zombie movies. I have a ton of zombie movies. I did watch Zombie 3 and 4. If you guys following the scam thing, and then I did review them for the site, and those were a ton of fun. They're not good, but they're fun. I don't know. You know, I'll just go with Dawn of the Dead. The original Romero Dawn of the Dead, I think, is about as good as any zombie movie could ever be. And they all have something to say, like they all have a purpose and a point in existing. But as far as purity of concept, Dawn of the Dead is better than Night of the Living Dead, I think. Yeah, I'll go with that one. But again, like I'm saying, like I don't know that I'll agree with that in a week. I'm being told to speed up, so sorry.
We'll just stay with the Halloween theme. I'm going to try to get to everybody's questions. I have them written down, but I'm going to stay with the Halloween theme for the moment. Beautiful.
I'm okay. Your questions are written down, so we'll get through them, okay?
Do you have any go-to horror movies that you watch every Halloween?
Do I have any go-to horror movies that I watch every Halloween? Yes, and I'll be talking about them this month. I'm actually going to do a video about that, so I don't want to reveal anything about that.
And that was
Stay tuned.
Cyberdrone. Hansel Cintron wants to know your thoughts on the Child's Play remake and Chucky's redesign. And that person also has a follow-up question, but go ahead.
Child's Play remake.
Or another question.
Are you talking about the newer movies, the ones from like the last few years? I like those. I like those a lot. The one, what's the newest one that just came out like last year? There's too many gears spinning right now, but the newest one, that freaked me out so much. Here's the thing: horror movies do not traditionally upset me. I watch them now. Some of the stuff, like Rob Zombie movies, like like The Devil. What was the one? What was the one that freaked me out so much? The Rob Zombie movie with his wife, with Sherry Moon Zombie, about not 31, the one before 31. Anyway, Cult of Chucky. That's it, right? Because it was Curse, right, and then it was Cult. Lords of Salem. That movie scared me, and it was just because I have anxiety. And that movie really plays to anxiety.
Well, and Jamie Mason asked, are there any what has scared you the most, what horror movie, and that you've never watched again?
Okay, so that's one for you, Jamie. The Lords of Salem freaked my crap out. And it wasn't even like I wrote something years ago about like you have to have belief for a horror movie to scare you. You have to believe in the concept of what that movie is presenting for it to scare you. And I no longer stand by that because I don't necessarily believe in some of the things that freak me out. But that movie, as someone who has anxiety, like the strobe stuff that happens in that movie, and then just like the imagery at just such a rapid pace, freaked me out. And I will never watch it again. I tried. I bought the Blu-ray and I was going to show it to producer Bree. And it Like, I couldn't do it. I like the thought of showing it, the thought of putting the disc in the player got me so upset that I couldn't do it. But I do like the Cult of Chucky. The scene in the okay, without spoiling anything, the hospital bed scene with the skylight, the you know what I'm talking about? Like, I was like, oh my good Lord, I've never seen anything like that before. And that was like, but in a good way, like, cause it's so ridiculous, right? Like, horror is often so ridiculous that it's hard to get really, it was cool. It was really cool.
Okay, so the Hansel Cintron who asked
Hansel Cintron.
the child's play question.
Child's Play, yes.
Wait, I don't know if their comment here refers to.
Oh.
They're kind of referring to the remake by MGM coming out next year.
Oh. I don't know about that.
Is continuing the original movies with a TV series while MGM is remaking it.
I didn't know any of that.
And
I tend to not follow newer stuff as much as I follow older things because Serial at Midnight is kind of a retro themed channel, and so like it's not that I'm not interested. I just am not always super up to speed on news. Like, I haven't seen the Creed 2 trailer.
That person also asked, "Have you seen the test footage for the Joker movie starring Joaquin Phoenix?"
I have seen the test footage for the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, and good luck. I wish them all the luck in the world. I think that is an uphill battle. That's an uphill climb, and if they can pull it off, I'll be very impressed. But I personally am not interested in that. We have already had that take on a Joker. And it's just, I don't know. I could go down we could do a whole 1 hour live stream on Warner Brothers trying to figure out where to go with their characters. But I have a question. So they're redoing, they've done these new Chucky movies where they've resurrected the character, and they're super popular, and they're going to reboot it in the middle of resurrecting this character? Is that right? Anyway, okay.
I'm going to try to wrap up the horror questions.
Okay, more horror questions.
So I can get to some others.
Okay.
Hilarious Jammin asked, "What are your thoughts on the new Halloween?"
What are my thoughts on the new Hilarious Jammin'? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. What are my thoughts on the new Halloween? Like, again, like, I hope it's good. I don't. I have very low expectations. I know John Carpenter's involved. Hey, let people have their space, okay? I know that you want to be on camera again. Come here. Let all these people. Let's talk about Halloween. I know that John Carpenter's involved. I don't know. You gotta go. You gotta go. It doesn't look great to me. I've watched the trailer. I don't know why we've brought Jamie Lee Curtis back. We have to ignore past movies to explain her being back. And that just seems weird. But at the same time, I recognize that we should not, if you want, like, it's not John Carpenter's fault or whoever, anybody producing a new horror sequel, they should not necessarily be held to continuity from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever, especially not when it's Michael Myers and it's Halloween. So I understand. I will watch it. I will not watch it in the theater, but I will watch it, and I will have low expectations. And if it's decent, I'll be happy. I have all of those movies on Blu-ray. I am a Halloween fan, but we're just in a weird cycle with our movies right now. So we're very much looking to resurrect past franchises, and I have no idea why they brought Jamie Lee Curtis back, other than it's Jamie Lee Curtis. Can I also say that she seems very difficult to work with, and I'll just leave that there.
Shane Carpenter asked, "What's your favorite Universal monster movie?"
Shane Carpenter, my favorite Universal monster movie is. Are you telling me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think you're right. Mm-hmm. It's Bride of Frankenstein. I also really like The Wolfman, but Bride of Frankenstein is so subversive and so it's just twisted. You could tell James Whale was really off in his own world when he was making that movie, and he was just like so. It's like, yeah, Frankenstein made a lot of money and it's a huge hit. So you want a sequel? So I'll give you a sequel. Oh, I'll give you a sequel. And I love that. And it's a great movie, and it's got great stuff in it. It is the way that because if you look at the other sequels from that time period, or even like especially the 40s, the sequels from the 40s or whatever, like the fifth Frankenstein movie or whatever, they're very campy and like fun and disposable. But Bride of Frankenstein does not feel fun or disposable. It's powerful to me.
Okay. There's a couple more. The horror stuff just keeps coming, but there's.
Well, it's October, so you want to do the other ones first and then do the horror ones?
Okay.
Producer Bree is pulling her hair out.
So, Dave Jones asked, "What more favorites? What's your favorite Johnny Cash album?"
Dave Jones, favorite Johnny Cash album. I really like Orange Blossom Special. I keep coming back to that one, and I really like. I believe it's called The Sound of Johnny Cash, and it's the original Delia's Gone on it. Lost in the Desert is on it. Like the Folsom Prison stuff is good too, but I like. I know that's a weird answer, right? But hey, that's what Serial at Midnight. That's why you come to Serial at Midnight, for the weird answers. I think those are the two that I love the most.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Dave Jones also asks. Do you have a favorite John Waters movie?
Do I have a favorite John Waters movie? No, not really. I've seen him. Hey Tim, what's up? I've seen him. I haven't seen them all. I haven't seen the one, again, the name. But if I was not doing a live stream, I could tell you the name. The one with the thing at the end with Divine. I haven't seen that one. And I probably never will because I'm just not interested. But he's another one. I'm like, yeah, cool. He's doing his thing. I don't know if his thing is my thing, but maybe one day it will be because, as we've established, I am inconsistent. The producer Bree thinks that's funny.
Okay. MIB Master Toy Museum 1979.
MIB Master Toy Museum 1979?
I'm doing my best with names.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Mint in box. That's what that is. He doesn't open them.
Got it.
They're MIB.
I know what that means.
Not to be confused with MLB,
right,
which is Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Said that they love your channel and what's your take on Wave 2 of Meegos?
Thank you for the compliment on the channel. Wave 2 of Meego, I'm excited about. I still think I've been looking for them. I put a picture on Instagram. I did find the 14-inch figures at a Target a little further away from my house. And I think that the Poison Ivy is stunning. My wife will verify that. I was like, Bree, this is a toy. Look at the makeup job on this toy. Like, look at the paint application. She's beautiful. So not to be creepy. Like, I don't mean that to be creepy. But like, it's just, it does not look like a toy. Like, it looks like a statue or something. So I like those, and I hadn't planned on picking any of those up, but I may end up getting the Poison Ivy. The Batgirl, all the Batgirls that I've seen have wonky paint jobs. But I'm really excited about more Star Trek figures, and we like Bewitched. We watch Bewitched here in this house a lot. So I'm in for Bewitched. I'm interested. What I'm really interested in is what happens beyond Wave 3, because I know that Marty, the founder, his company, has said that there are like 6 waves planned for next year, and they're going to include modern things, potentially like Firefly, Supernatural, more Star Trek, and that is really interesting to me. I think they've played it safe with some of this stuff because they want... I believe Target had a say-so in some of this stuff, so they've played it safe as far as what will call people from the shelves, like a casual buyer walking by will look over and see Charmed, and be like, oh, I might have to check those out. And I don't mean to, I'm not judging Charmed. I'm just saying I think that that's a lower demand collectible item than Star Trek or even The Wizard of Oz. I think that's a good pick for Meego. And I think classically it was too, like in the 70s. That was a good pick for Meego.
Well, speaking of Meego, Jamie Mason asked if you went to Target today, which is
Jamie, I did not go to Target today. We went yesterday, and it was nothing. And based on my past experience, I knew probably chances are they do not stock that Target on Sunday. That dude told me that they stock at Monday and Tuesday and whenever they feel like it, but they don't stock on Sunday. Sidebar, I do want to just say that someone, because you guys are we're friends here, right? And you guys are my peeps. Someone in the Meego Ambassador group posted my first video about the Meego line, where I was so frustrated because I'd made 7 trips to Target and had not found them because of employees telling me one thing and then not building the end caps on the date that they said, and I got ripped apart. Well, that in absence, like I wasn't even there, and I just got ripped apart in the Meego thread, and or the Meego Ambassador group, and so then they kept posting my videos, and I kept like directly trying to communicate with the people who were saying the worst things, and it was not a good experience. It ended up with someone saying that they hate me, they hate this channel, and they think that I'm the most uninformed and basically like the worst YouTuber on YouTube, and that I lie about things. This was the thing. I lie about things and say that I hate them or that they're broken so that I can get free things. Because you guys know that's what I do, right? That's the whole model of the channel, is just lie about stuff to get free things, which to date has only happened twice. Like, I've gotten free things on the channel twice in a year and a half. It really bothered me, honestly. And what bothered me about it was because I was trying to have a conversation with people about it, and it was just like talking to a wall. So I am still a member of the Meego Ambassador group. I will not be leaving that group, but the behavior there, I think, should be considered by other Meego fans. Like, if you want info about Meegos, I don't know if that's where I would go. It was pretty ugly.
Donnell Coleman asked, when did you start collecting media and what got you into it? Changing gears a little bit.
Donald, when did I start collecting media and what got me into it? I started collecting VHS in the 90s. And it was about access, which is all, that's my whole thing. My whole thing is always about access. I don't care what format you prefer. Let me rephrase that. I don't tell you what format you prefer. I don't say like, well, physical is better than streaming. And that's just the way it is, sucker. Like, that's not my take. It's a personal choice. My collection is a personal choice for me because I want access to the movies that I want to watch. And at the time, even now, but in the 90s, like the stuff, they weren't coming on TV. If I wanted to watch, I don't know, Cable Guy. Like, I really loved Cable Guy when that movie came out. And I could go rent it, you know, often, or I could just pick it up for like $9.99 on VHS. And then I could watch it whenever I wanted to. And as I got older, that just became more and more of a thing. What? Are you laughing at me or somebody else? Okay. And so it's really just about access, really. Like, even now, my collection is because I want to watch movies and I want to be able to watch like the Italian movies. Like, I watched Devilfish over the weekend, which is this really low budget Italian horror movie. It's not even really horror. It's just like a Jaws ripoff from 1984. So much fun. It actually is on Amazon Prime streaming, but I wanted to buy it because that's a movie that is not going to be on Amazon Prime streaming forever. And when it's not there, I want access to that movie. So that's why I started collecting. That was the motivation for collecting. It was like, oh, I want to watch these movies, and I want to watch them like when I want to watch them without having to go to the store, the video store, Blockbuster, you know, whatever.
So I'm going to go totally off topic with this question.
Okay, off topic question.
Mike and Kelly from Orlando asked, if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
Mike and Kelly, what kind of tree would I be? I would be a walnut tree. And I don't know why. I just think that sounds soothing. And I would have very large reaching branches that would shelter the people who are under me. And they would drop walnuts occasionally so they would feed, right? They could sustain people. And then if something were to happen to me and I fell over, you could build like a nice table out of the wood, the walnut. Mm-hmm. Are you laughing? You judging that answer?
Yeah, I was laughing.
Okay. There's gonna be a fight after this.
They put up a like laughing face.
Laughing face. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try to get to these some of these that were a long time ago. But
Okay.
I haven't gotten to them
We're
yet.
going back to horror.
No, just
No,
back
okay.
to questions that were from
Back to the Future.
Yes, Back to the Future.
Marty.
Murdersville asked, being International Thunderbirds Day, have you watched any of Jerry Anderson's
Yeah.
stuff, such as Thunderbird, Stingray, Captain Scarlet?
So Murdersville, have I watched Jerry Anderson's, basically his puppet shows? Not really. I think they came on. Thunderbirds came on in the States somewhere. If anybody is here in the live stream and can help with that, did they come on? I don't think it was Comedy Central. That doesn't. Maybe it was. I think it was Sci-Fi Channel, like in the '90s. And I've seen some of it, but I haven't seen it. Like I could not tell you characters' names or anything. And that actually is like a blind spot for me that I want to rectify at some point. And I know there's like really good UK DVD versions of some of that stuff that I don't know that we have here. I think some of our stuff's out of print here in the States.
Okay. A lot of questions. Hamden asked, have you seen the Message movie by Mustafa Akkad?
Have I seen the Message movie? No.
Yeah.
No. I don't even know what that is.
He's the producer of Halloween.
Oh.
Mustafa.
Yeah. Mustafa. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And what did you think of it?
I have not seen that. But it sounds like I should. I also haven't seen Terrifier. It's on Netflix. I've been saving it for October. I will have things to say about Terrifier. I mean, hopefully. I might be unimpressed by Terrifier and be like, I watched Terrifier.
Zach Milton asked, what's your favorite Friday the 13th movie?
Zach, my favorite Friday the 13th movie is Friday the 13th Part 3, or 3D. While I recognize that 4 has like, maybe it's like the most balanced and has like, get a little Corey in there. 3 to me is so much fun. I love the gimmicks. I haven't even seen it in 3D. I just like the gimmicks, and I like just like the farmhouse, and it's 3 for sure.
So Stuart Philbrook asked, who's your favorite slasher?
Stuart Philbrook, who's my favorite slasher? Jason Voorhees. It's Jason.
And
that's why Jason tends to open packages in the videos. I have the little it's not Funko. I don't think it's Funko.
No, I don't think it is.
But he has I'll be up there without a knife or something, and he's right there, and he's got a little machete, like a little bloody machete, and it cuts packages perfectly.
Stuart Philbrook.
Stuart. Again.
Also asked, who would you cast as the next James Bond?
Who would I cast as the next James Bond? Well, that's a tough one. John Waters. No. I would definitely keep it British, English, whatever. Trying to think this is not something I've spent time thinking about. I'm sorry.
I'd say
Jon Hamm? Just Jon Hamm with an American accent?
He could do British.
He could do British? I'm sure he can do British.
He can do everything.
Jon Hamm's amazing. He's so handsome. He's just like strong. Just like sturdy. Like a good walnut tree, very sturdy. I do want to answer this though. I'm trying to, like, my mind is working overtime. I'm trying to think like who would be.
I already answered it for us.
Okay, well it's Jon Hamm. Apparently is the answer.
You should know that's not your answer, but my answer.
I have no answer, so in lieu of my answer, it's Jon Hamm. If I think of something, who are some great British actors right now? I'm tired of Benedict Cumberbatch being in everything, huh?
John McAvoy, I love him.
James McAvoy.
See,
he couldn't. James McAvoy would not be. He would not be a good Bond though. He does not have the suave. If they were going in a different direction, Mr. Tumnus. Mr. Tumnus.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Austin Souza asked, have you played the new Spider-Man game?
I have not played the new Spider-Man game, Austin. I seriously, on the day of release, because I would go buy the physical release, I would not digitally download it because I am steadfast in my ways. I seriously thought about going to Best Buy and picking it up. But they had already announced DLC. And I was like, if I just wait, because this is the thing with modern games. They're going to do a ton of DLC, and then in a year, they will release the complete package for like $39.99, and it'll be the Amazing Spider-Man game, and it'll be all the DLC, plus like exclusive costumes, plus whatever else. So I've been trained to just wait. I do want to play it really badly, but I haven't. I didn't pick it up. Did you, and is it any good?
I can't tell who this person's name is.
Okay.
We'll come back to it. Movie Guy 47 asks, what's your favorite Rolling Stones album?
Movie Guy, what's my favorite Rolling Stones album? So there is that quadrilogy, right? The Beggar's Banquet, Sticky Fingers, Let It Bleed, I don't. Those aren't in order. Exile on Main Street. Those are those are fantastic. I don't know that I could pick one out of those. I do. Maybe Let It Bleed. I'll tell you this. I'm going to say Let It Bleed, but I do love all four of those. I actually really like lots of Rolling Stones albums. I also have a very big fond feeling for... I have a very grand feeling for Between the Buttons. I think is a great underrated Rolling Stones album. And I've been listening to Goat's Head Soup again lately after a while. That's one that I don't go to a lot. And I've been listening to that one. And it's good. It's dark and it's powerful. And I think Goat's Head Soup is underrated as well.
Stuart Fulbrook asked also, are there any movies that have surprised you the most, like you were dreading seeing it, but you came out loving it?
Are there any movies that I dread? Stuart wants to know if there are any movies that I dreaded seeing but came out loving. There are none that are coming to mind, but that doesn't mean that there aren't. It usually works the other way around. Like I'd be excited about going to see something, and then I come out and I'm like, boy, I wish I had my time and my money back. You guys are getting the aspect of me that I try to cut out of the videos, which is, no, little girl, no. Where I try, no, she's like looking at the camera like I could jump on that. I try to cut out the grumpiness to an extent. I leave some of it in, but like, when I can curate my own videos, it's going to be less like, yeah, I didn't like that. I try to talk about things that I did like. So, yeah, this is raw in multiple ways. Do we have a lot of questions still? Mm-hmm. Well, we can go as long as we need to. Okay.
SpiderMan asked, what movies or TV shows from the past would you like to see rebooted, like Manimal or Automan?
What movies or SpiderMan, what movies or TV shows would I like to see rebooted? Street Hawk. The honest answer is, while I do appreciate a good reboot every now and then, I wish that Hollywood would spend more time coming up with really fun new ideas and creating new properties for the future. But that wasn't your question. So I would say I did like Street Hawk. I didn't see Manimal. I should see Manimal. Yeah, let's leave it at Street Hawk.
Cyberden also asked, do you still have action figures that you had when you were a kid?
Do I still have action figures that I had when I was a kid? Yes, I have most of them. There are some that have suspiciously disappeared, but I have most of them. I have all of my G.I. Joes, and I've done the O-ring replacement for the legs. I have my Robin Hood Prince of Thieves figures, which are getting a video whenever I can come up with a way to shoot it. Because when I talk about some of this stuff, there's so many good videos about these things on YouTube, and I want to bring something different. And so sometimes it's just trying to find an angle to actually talk about it without just being like, so here's my Robin Hood figures. I had this one, and I had this. Like, that's not interesting to me, and I want to do it in a way that's fun. Like the Dean Martin video, like on paper, who's interested in listening to a guy talk about Dean Martin DVDs? But hopefully I approached that in a way that was kind of entertaining. But I have my Robin Hood figures. I have my Dick Tracy figures, my G.I. Joes. I think I have some of my, I have my original Superpowers figures. My Super Friends. Yeah.
Brandon Lofberg, by the way, just said.
Brandon,
I'm sorry.
No, I'm supposed to. Brandon, no.
The Dean Martin video is great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brandon.
So Tom Courtier.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm
Tom.
saying that
Just
right.
think say Tom.
Sorry. Do you have a favorite film critic, writer?
Do I have a favorite film critic, writer? I really dig. I've talked about him in a video, or I asked the question about him in a video. I'm so worried she's gonna pull all this down. Okay. There's a cat just like wanting to pull all the cords and the wires off. I like Kim Newman a lot. On a local level, Patrick Bromley, F this movie, is my brother. I love what I love his take on movies. I love that he's the most passionate person I have ever met, spoke to, known about movies. But on a grander scale, like an international critic or whatever, I really like Kim Newman's take. But here, I'm going to be honest, because it's a live stream. If this was just a video, I would not say this. This is a live stream. It's going to be honest. I don't really care what critics think most of the time. And so I generally don't listen to what they have to say, because I can usually make up my own mind. I could come up now here, and here's the rebuttal response to that. Well, if you don't listen to critics and you don't listen to what people think about movies, how do you ever grow? And that is true. You have to have opposing perspectives. But there's so much criticism right now, especially internet criticism, that people just do not know what they're talking about. They don't really have a history with movies. They haven't seen movies older than they are. And I cannot really take people seriously when they haven't seen a lot of movies. And, like Roger Ebert was a great critic, but I never, like, I've read maybe 5 Roger Ebert criticisms, honestly. Like, it's just, criticism is not something I spend a lot of time pursuing, for better or for worse. That might be a huge character flaw of mine. But Kim Newman is really cool. I like him a lot. And he reminds me of myself. I'm an eccentric in training, or I might just be an eccentric. I might have arrived. But where you get to a point where you're just like, I don't care about what people think. I just want to do my thing, and I have my own thoughts about movies. And so that's why, I write about movies, and I put them on the site when I do. But I feel like I'm digging a hole, so I'm just going to jump out of this one right now. You agree? Okay.
Well, I'm just saying it's probably time to wrap that discussion.
Time to wrap it up. Okay. Not the live stream.
But just that discussion.
We'll go a few more minutes longer, because I know we're coming up on an hour and there's still a lot of questions. So do you want to cap questions? How many questions do you think we have that haven't been answered yet?
Like 8. Well, some of them are 2-part questions, but 8.
We'll cap questions in just a couple of minutes. So if
Okay,
you have a
so
question,
Ruth asked,
Ruth.
which of the missing Doctor Who stories from the 60s would you like to see recovered or animated?
Which of the missing Doctor? I'm not sure which Doctor Who stories have not been done at this point, off the top of my head. I know, it makes me so sad that most of Patrick Troughton's stuff, I don't know if most, it makes me sad how many of Patrick Troughton's stories are gone. So he would be the one. I enjoy Patrick Troughton more than I enjoy William Hartnell, just personally. That doesn't mean that I don't think William Hartnell's stories need to be restored or rescued or whatever. But personally, I would rather have Patrick Troughton stuff. But I don't know that I could tell you one over the other right now. If I'd researched it, I could probably tell you something more specific. But Troughton, for sure.
Jamie asked, is there a TV show or movie that hasn't been released, like on Blu-ray or DVD, that you're waiting for?
Is there a TV show on movie? Jamie, there are tons of TV shows and movies. I'm going to try to think of some off the top of my head. I mean, seriously, there's a ton. I can't be quiet because that's not good YouTube. I'm excited that the UK is doing Blu-ray for the Time Tunnel, and I would like to import that when that comes out. And I'm sad that the Fantastic Voyage TV show has not. Those DVDs are super expensive in America. There is a UK box set that I will probably be importing at some point, but that's not really never been released. When Burt Reynolds died, it made me sad that Evening Shade there's only one season of that out that's on DVD. There's so many. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll if I think of more, I'll address it with you later.
Mickey Gameplays asks, what's your favorite movie genre and the favorite movie from that genre?
Favorite movie genre and favorite movie from that genre. I don't know that I could honestly say. I do love science fiction a whole lot, but I don't know that I could say it's my favorite genre because I tend to have moods and phases and stuff. And so right now, as I was talking about, Italian horror is definitely my jam. But I like horror a whole lot. I think it's a really versatile genre. I like classic horror, 70s horror. I really do like horror. But I do also like science fiction and fantasy and stuff like that. And I really am underexposed in some of those things. I would also say sword and sorcery is a genre that I don't think I've mentioned on the channel before. You're the Hunter from the Future. That movie is crazy. It's Italian. Ding ding. But there's a ton of stuff like that I just haven't seen. Because I had a very sheltered youth and I couldn't have rented that stuff from the video store. No one would have let me. So I would say science fiction, but that's loose. And favorite movie from that genre, dude, I don't know. Like I, I have many favorite movies, and they're constantly going up and going down. But I do say that my favorite movie is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because it's the one that I owe so much to. And going back to, was it Donnell that had asked what my is it Donnell or Donnell had asked what my what got me into collecting movies? Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was one of the first movies that I actually owned, and I watched it so many times that I actually wore the tape out. Like I would count how many times I would watch it, and I lost count.
That's what I expected you to say when he asked.
You should have said that. I forgot. Like, it's thinking on the fly is hard, yo. It's tough, man.
Cyberdrone asked, what is the most amusing movie title you have heard of?
Cyberdrone wants to know what's the most amusing movie title that I've heard of. You know what? There's an old John Wayne movie. It's like a super low budget movie called Randy Rides Alone, and that always makes me happy. It's such a stupid title for a movie. Randy Rides Alone. There you go.
Hilarious Jammin wants to know what's your favorite Coen Brothers movie.
Hilarious Jammin' favorite Coen Brothers movie. I'm doing the math in my head. I don't think it's Fargo. Raising Arizona, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Raising Arizona. But again, you ask me that question tomorrow, I might have a completely different answer.
Murdersville asked, are you Blu-ray region free? And if not, would you consider going down that route?
And my Murdersville, I'm not Blu-ray region free. I have considered it, but I have not really needed to up to this point, because there are so many movies that are all region Blu-rays, or if they're not. So here's an example. Like over the weekend or maybe Friday, it came out that the Elvira movie. Is it Elvira, Mistress of the Dark? Is that the name of the movie? I can't remember. It's coming out. It's finally coming. There was a German Blu-ray that I think was region free, and I didn't buy it. I have the DVD, okay, but I didn't buy the movie, the German version. And then they announced that Arrow, who's an amazing company, is going to be doing a Blu-ray, but I think it's B. I think it's region B locked. And so while I would be interested in importing that if it was all region, I have the DVD and I'm fine with it. Like, I'm not going to watch that movie 100 times in my life, and I'm usually okay with not. I don't know that for me where I'm at, I don't know that the cost justifies. I don't know that the cost justifies the I don't know if it's worth it. Because I am cheap. You guys see the thrift store videos. I'm a cheapskate when it comes to this stuff. I buy things on sale. I buy things used. I try to spend as little money as possible because there's always something coming back through again. I know there's a lot of big special editions of things that come out of the UK. And Mill Creek has released it. Like, I love Mill Creek. Mill Creek has released very stripped down, bare bones versions of movies like The Lady from Shanghai. Like, there's a fantastic, I think it's Indicator version of The Lady from Shanghai, but I believe it's region locked. But Mill Creek put it out in the US, and I literally paid, I think, $5 for it during a deep discount sale. And I'm fine with that. A lot of the times when they do these big special editions, like, this is something that this might be controversial, but here you're getting the full raw Heath. There's a movie title for you. And a lot of the special features on these things, they're fine. You watch them once, and like if there's a commentary, I'm usually interested in that most of the time. But a lot of this stuff is pretty fluffy, and it doesn't have a lot of substance to it. So usually it's the movie for me, and if I have access to the movie, if I don't have to import it, I'm usually okay with it. That's a long-winded answer to your question. I'm sorry.
Imagination's Addict asks, are you a Dean only fan, or do you enjoy his films, TV, and radio work with Jerry?
So the thing about Dean Martin is that I'm just getting into it. Like, I've seen, he's in the Rio Bravo with John Wayne, and he's in the original Ocean's 11. It's like, I'm familiar with Dean Martin. I'm dancing. I don't really like Jerry Lewis. I think it's annoying. But at the same time, I feel like I maybe haven't been fair to Jerry Lewis about that. And like at the current phase of my life, maybe I should revisit that. But I do like Dean Martin's music. I have his Christmas album, and I have his, I bought a CD at a thrift store like 2 weeks ago in the last thrift store video. That's all the Dean Martin that I have. What intrigued me about the variety show was the variety show aspect of it. The fact that it was like celebrities coming on and being goofy, and the way that everybody seems to know everybody from that era. That was very interesting to me. But I will say, like, I probably need to give the Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis thing another shot. I can't even tell you what movies of theirs that I've seen, or they're like the Colgate Comedy Hour stuff. Like, I don't know that I'm familiar with any of that. I just have an opinion that may be invalid and outdated.
Porker Burns?
Porker Burns? What? Porky Buns? Porky Buns.
Yes, that's what
That's
I was
it.
gonna say.
Okay.
That's not it, but that's what we're gonna say.
That's unfortunate.
What movie have you bought the most copies of?
What movie have I bought the most copies of? Probably freaking Army of Darkness. Like, every time the thing comes out, I keep buying it. I think I've bought it 3 or 4 times, and that's enough. Oh, no. Star Wars. There's not even a question. It's Star Wars. And Indiana Jones probably second. Because I bought Star Wars on VHS, and then I bought Star Wars, the THX VHS, 10, whatever. And then there was the special editions, and then there was the DVDs, and then there were the Blu-rays, and there's a cat fight in the corner. And it's Bolivia that started the cat fight, because she's a piece of crap. She's real. I just got in trouble because she has self-esteem issues. She's elderly. She's like 9. She's not elderly. She's probably got another 12 years on this earth.
She acts like she's elderly.
She'll wander the earth like Kane from Kung Fu and have adventures. And you want to cap the questions? We're well over an hour. Do you want to cap the question? Here, do you want to give them 1 minute to get into the last questions?
Yeah.
1 minute to get your last questions in, and then we'll cap it. We'll finish up what we got, and then we will ride off into the sunset.
Tim Hayes asked, what's your favorite Frankenstein movie? Somebody else posted and said, it's Bride of Frankenstein, but I just thought you may want to...
Yeah, it's Bride of Frankenstein, Tim. Because James Whale was amazing on that movie, and it's so subversive and like not what anybody expected. And it's such a strong... First time I watched Bride of Frankenstein, I was like, what in the world is this? So there's little people in jars and stuff, but as I've watched it more and it's grown on me, I'm like, wow, what a subversive film. And if you can't tell, I like subverting expectations.
Unboxing Williams Potato. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh people's names, but
well, they're supposed to be fun.
They're funny. Okay. Asked, do you own any Region 2?
Oh yeah, Unboxing Williams Potato. I own a ton of Region 2. A ton, not Blu-rays, DVDs. I have tons of Doctor Who Region 2. I just bought that Hammer set. If you haven't seen the Hammer horror video that I did, I bought for my birthday. I bought a 21 movie Hammer set. Those are all Region 2. I have a bunch of Region. I'm trying to think of what else Region 2 that I have. I have Little Britain. I imported that one, the complete series of Little Britain, because we like that. That's all that's coming to mind, but I do have a lot. I probably have upwards of 100 imported Region 2 Blu-ray DVDs. Is that why they were fighting? You think they were hungry, so they were fighting?
It's feeding time.
It's feeding time. Chum the waters.
Robert, just a fan, asked any plans for Halloween, and then also Jamie asked, "Are you going to Disney for Halloween?" But
Robert and Jamie
pay for it or do our plans.
Yes, if you guys would be willing to pay for us to go to Disney. So here's true story. Well, we don't have plans for Halloween. My daughter is going to be at her dad's house. And our neighborhood does not really... When we first bought this house, there were kids that would come to the door. But I think that they've aged out. And I also think that there's like a really wealthy neighborhood, like 10 or 15 minutes away. And I think people just drive there. Huh? Less than that?
Less than that.
Well, I just want to make it clear that we don't live in the wealthy neighborhood.
No.
Yeah, right. And so I think all the kids go there. So we don't even really get trick-or-treaters. Last year, did anybody ring the doorbell? I don't think they did. I think it was just us. We had that huge bowl of candy. So we don't. We usually, when my daughter is here, because there's a custody thing. So when she's here, we go trick-or-treating. But when she's not here, we usually do not really do anything. So we do not have plans. Our anniversary is October. Can I tell them when our anniversary is?
Yeah. Okay.
It's October 30th. We got married the day before Halloween because we love Halloween so much. We love that time of the year. And so we wanted to go to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party for our anniversary this year, but it does not look like it's going to happen because it's expensive and it gets more expensive every year. And that's one of the things that really bothers me about Disney is like when we first started going to Mickey's Not So Scary, it was like $62 per person because it's a hard ticket event. And you can get in at 4 and you can stay until the event is over at midnight. And for $62, showing up at 4 o'clock and hanging out till midnight in Disney is a bargain. But now it's about $100 per person. And it's only been a matter of like 3 or 4 years, I think, since we first started going. And the price has essentially not quite doubled, but it's gone up like 80%. And it just has become this huge financial expenditure that it wasn't when we first started doing it. So bottom line is I don't think we're going to Disney this year, but I sure did want to, and I'm kind of sad about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who's Brandon? Happy birthday, man.
No,
that is
his wife's birthday.
Oh, it's your wife's
on
birthday.
10/30.
It's
the same as our anniversary.
Yes.
And he said
So happy
always,
birthday to your wife in a month.
Yeah, so they always go on a trip that week.
That's super cool.
Okay. Dave Jones asked your favorite live album CD/concert.
Favorite live album CD/concert. Dave, hey, knock it off, okay? I want to say Folsom Prison, but I feel like that's not true. I feel like that's not accurate. I'm trying to think of live albums. There's the Stones. And there's like 137 Dylan live albums now because he just keeps putting them out. I'll say Folsom Prison. Live from Folsom Prison. And there's San Quentin too. I'll say Folsom Prison. Oh, she's in the camera now.
Yeah,
she's slowly climbing up the...
Making her way up.
Making your way in the
Fury
world
of
today.
Firestorm just put MC Hammer ?
MC Hammer ?
I don't know.
MC Hammer ! Please, Hammer, don't hurt him.
I guess. Well, so Movie Mad asked, do you still have a video rental store?
We do
Oh,
not.
like in town.
No, we do not have a video rental store.
Mm-hmm.
No.
We just have red boxes.
Yeah, well,
Those
and
are really
I think like red boxes are getting harder to find now too.
Mm-hmm.
No, we do not have a video rental store. I think there might be one downtown, but I'm not sure. And when I say downtown, I mean like in a bad part of downtown, and I'm not sure that it's a legitimate video store or if it's the other kind of video store, because it's just like such and such movie or such and such video. So I'm not, and you wouldn't. I'd like to have the bars on the windows and everything. I wouldn't go check it out. So for all intents and purposes, no. And we haven't. In I think the last Blockbuster was the last one, and they've been gone for what, 3 years, something like that.
Yeah. Unboxing Williams Potato said, any DVDs with the Blockbuster logo?
I have no DVDs with the Blockbuster logo. I have some movie gallery. I actually caught, because when I first, about a decade ago, the movie gallery here, might have been all the movie galleries, went out of business, and I got like crazy good deals on some stuff. But the sad part of I ended up, it was like 75 DVDs that I bought from a closing movie gallery. She cannot leave that skeleton alone. But I ended up selling most of them. Actually, I think I sold all of them. for some cash back in the day. And I don't really do that anymore. When I buy something, I buy it for the long haul. So I have Movie Gallery. I have some things that I've picked up from thrift stores that have like weird mom and pop rental store logos on them. I have nothing. I don't think I have anything from Blockbuster. I might. I don't think I do.
John Kyle Stanton said he enjoyed, well, I guess it's a him, I'll assume.
John, yeah.
John, yeah. Enjoyed your tips for collecting physical media. Thank you. And when does the Cereal at Midnight store open?
John, I don't know that there's going to be a Cereal at Midnight store right now because I put feelers out about like who would be interested in picking up things that I've bought from thrift stores or whatever. And there has been some interest, but not a lot of interest. And it would be, honestly, it would be a lot of work for me because I have a full-time job. I fit the videos in. Like I'm filming videos sometimes like 7 o'clock in the morning. Like I work them in when I can. And the idea of adding on trips to the post office and stuff like that, like I don't know when I would do it. And honestly, I don't want to buy things on speculation. I've thought about it, and I would so much rather encourage other people to go to thrift stores and see what's out there than to try to make a few bucks off of selling things to people. Like, it just doesn't feel right. That being said, my buddy James, the comic book savant, who, by the way, like we did another podcast. I think it's going to be a regular thing now. Spinner Rack Bros is the name. That's James's name. I'm okay with it. We're the Spinner Rack Bros. We did another podcast about Star Wars comics, and I think there's another one coming in a couple of weeks. But he's looking into some t-shirts through, I think, Teespring. I could be wrong about that, but he's going to tell me what the quality is like. Because a lot of those like on-demand t-shirt companies, like where like you have a design and then they're available on demand, there's quality issues with like sizing and like neck length and stuff. But if he gets the like if he vouches for the t-shirts, I will do Cereal at Midnight t-shirts, which is something.
Unboxing Williams Potato asked, any Family Guy?
Any Family Guy? No, I have had various seasons of Family Guy over the years, and I just like I've sold all of them off, and I haven't rebought them. I have issues with Family Guy. We don't have to get into it here. I'm not judging anybody that likes Family Guy, but I do not have any Family Guy. That sounds pointed. She's about to knock that light off the table.
Stop it.
I should say, like, I'm not offended by Family Guy. I think that the writing is not where it needs to be. I'll say that. Is that even worse? Just digging a hole on Family Guy. Family Guy bothers me because they'll throw out references. It'll be like, oh, they'll like throw out a G.I. Joe reference, and then the reference is the joke. There is no joke. It's a reference as a joke. And that crap drives me crazy. I'm like, yeah, I do remember G.I. Joe. Of course I remember He-Man. Do you have anything to say about it? And they rarely do. And if they do, they're taking a dump on it. So that's too much information. Grumpy Heath on the live stream. But I'm just being honest though. But again, like I don't have any problem with anybody who likes Family Guy. Like I don't like whatever makes you happy. Like you should pursue that. Like if Family Guy makes you laugh, that is awesome. Is that it? Well, you could have let me know that we were winding down, that we don't end on the Family Guy, like Heath being a douchebag about Family Guy.
Thought there would be maybe another question, but
is there you guys have any more questions that you could ask that aren't like not me taking it?
That Tim Hayes is clearly a cat person like we are.
Tim's a cat guy.
He keeps commenting on how cute Bianca is.
Yes. Can you guys hear her through the live stream? Because so she's a cat. I mean, she's a kitten, right? But she's in heat. Like she has just arrived at heat. I mean, she's too young. She doesn't go outside. She's never going outside. I mean, I found her outside, but she's had all of her shots and everything. But she's in heat, and we feel like she needs another month before she can be spayed. And so she's just walking around moaning, like it's bad. So I was just wondering if you guys.
Tim Hayes said he thought that was a bird making that sound. I could see that.
It's a very excited cat who needs some sort of carnal whatever. You can totally be a Family Guy person and a cat person. I did see that. That's awesome. Again, my thoughts just for me. Like I know that I can be I can't live with myself sometimes. I'm very hard to deal with sometimes. And I recognize my thoughts about Family Guy are, Family Guy and The Simpsons. See, I never really got into The Simpsons either. When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons because it was like the devil's playground. Because it was a cartoon that was not strictly geared towards children, and so we didn't watch it. So I just, like, I've seen a lot of them. I think, like you've showed me, we have the first 12 seasons, I think. So I've seen it, but I think I came to it too late. But anyway. Anything? You guys done?
No, there's a few more questions.
Okay.
But we have to cap it at some point. We
Yeah.
can't go all night. But
Well, can I answer them without being unlovable?
yes.
Okay.
Are you still buying the 100-page Walmart comic?
Oh, that's a good question. Am I still buying the 100-page Walmart?
Movie Guy 47.
Movie Guy, no. I am not. I bought the first issues, and then I looked and looked and looked for the second issues. And, yeah, Bree, you did get louder because you got closer.
Mm-hmm. Say I got louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have that voice modulation syndrome.
Yeah. My students told me.
I was looking for the second issues, and then they didn't. I saw that. Do you agree? We'll end on DVD. We'll never die.
Okay.
Let's end there.
Okay.
So I finally found the second issue like 3 weeks ago, and I flipped through it, like all 4 of the issues they had, and I flipped through it, and I was like, I have so much of this. I could not, in good conscience, drop $20 on what amounted to like literally climbing the wall.
Mm-hmm.
There's no men behind that poster. I couldn't justify it. It would have been $20 for, how many pages? There's 2 8-page stories. I think the Batman was an 8-page story that was new. The Wonder Woman story was 8 pages and it was new. I think there was a Teen Titans. I think it was 32 pages, so $20 for 32 pages of story that I didn't have. Well, and I didn't have the, what was the one? There was a story that was running in the Superman book, the Terrifics, I think. I don't remember. But I couldn't in good conscience do it. I was like, I have so much of this material. And I feel kind of bad about it because I want to support that. But then at the same time, it's been pointed out to me that I am not the audience for those. And by buying copies of those, I'm taking copies away from somebody. But they did have stacks of the stack was like this big and they weren't selling. So I don't know if those are doing well or not. It's an interesting experiment. I don't know. I guess the question is, are people outside of comic book stores buying comics? And I don't know. I don't know what that answer is. It kind of doesn't look like it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Jamie asked, can you ballpark the number of movies in your collection?
3,000, Jamie. 3,000. So I have a database software. It's Collectors with a Z. I just kicked the camera, and it's it doesn't separate. I mean, it does separate if I really get into the analytical side of it, but it lumps TV shows and movie titles together. So whereas Supernatural that I just bought those Supernaturals from the thrift store. Those are 4 discs each, so it just counts Supernatural as one title. It's not counting units, it's not counting discs, but I have about 3,000 unique items, not discs, but titles in the database between TV and movies. And it's growing alarmingly.
Bat City Stuff said, what do you think about Scooby-Doo Riverdale reboot?
What do I think about Scooby-Doo Riverdale reboot? I don't know what that is. What is that? That sounds cool.
Well, so...
I like Scooby-Doo and I like Riverdale, though we never watched the second season
Riverdale, no.
of Riverdale. I was really digging it. So I guess yeah, it is on Netflix, yes. There's a ton of stuff we got to get to. It's just a matter of time. Time is the one commodity that we have the least of. Hopefully it'll get better as we get further into fall. We're at volleyball games, sometimes up to 4 nights a week. Legitimately, it's true.
True.
And so, we're doing the best we can.
Cesar Lopez asked, any tips or thoughts about NYCC coming up next week?
Cesar, I do not have anything. New York Comic Con is so far away from me. I hope cool things come out of it. Maybe we'll get some cool trailers. Oh, Jamie's missing a hockey game. Dude, go watch your hockey game. We're wrapping up here.
Hockey's important.
Hockey's totally important. No, I don't know. New York Comic Con, I'm sure it'll be awesome.
I'm trying to find the last.
I was gonna say, didn't we cap it?
We did, but hold on. I'm trying to. What was the last question you wanted?
It was about will DVD die? Or is it true DVD? Something about.
Oh yeah.
It was so fast.
Do you agree that? I'm trying to find it. Do you agree that DVD will never die?
Who asked that question?
Unboxing Williams Potato.
Unboxing Williams Potato. Do I agree that DVD will never die? This is the last one, guys. Yes, I do agree with that. I think that the rumors of the death of physical media are greatly exaggerated. And every time, one of the most popular videos on the channel is that collecting physical media in a digital world. And every time everyone that comments on that video is like, yeah, physical media, man, because I can watch it when I want to watch it, where I want to watch it. If I want to split it up into multiple sessions or whatever, I don't have to worry about a rental expiring. Space is a negative for physical media, but anytime somebody tries to say something bad about physical media in that thread, they don't have anything. They say, well, it takes up too much space, and what if everything burns down? And that's really it, which is true for a lot of things. Like, what if your computer burned? What if you drop your iPhone and it breaks and you can't access streaming media anymore? Like, those are valid. Like, I don't consider that to be a valid criticism. And when I try to engage people, like, well, why else do you think that streaming is better than physical media? The only thing is space. That's it. And for people that have space limitations, I totally do understand that. And again, when I speak about these things, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm only saying what works for me. I don't really want to be like a prophet for physical media. I just talk about my personal experience. Like, I'm not trying to convince anybody. But I do think that physical media is not going anywhere because it still sells crazy amounts. There are some weeks where there's seriously about 100 new releases a week, and they're not all A-list things. They're not all Solo or Avengers or whatever, but they're boutique label things. They're independent movies. There's a ton of physical media coming out every single week. And so the idea that companies are just going to stop putting that out because streaming is more convenient. That's why the boutique labels exist. So I don't, maybe like Disney or Paramount or Warner Brothers will cut back, because they have cut back on their stuff. Like, there's a new Scooby-Doo movie I didn't even know about. It's the Scooby-Doo The Gourmet Ghost with Giada De Laurentiis and Bobby Flay, and it's DVD only. So they're cutting back on some of this stuff, because like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that would have been on Blu-ray as well. But they're still putting it out because they know that there's a shelf appeal to that, and they know that there's a huge audience. One thing I've learned from doing Serial at Midnight is that there are thousands upon thousands of people who still feel very strongly about the collecting aspect, and the same way I do about access, being able to watch what you want to watch on your own terms, and not being at the whim of a cable company who controls your data connection or things like that. So as long as we have like Severin and Mill Creek and Arrow and Powerhouse, Indicator, as long as there are companies like that and they're making money, and they are making money, like they're doing well, their model is succeeding, then Movie Guy, you're only 15. That's right, man. I forgot that. That's so awesome that you're into physical media, that you're like taking it on your own terms. I think as long as that stuff's around, as long as these things are selling and making money, it'll be there. So that's my thoughts about it. I have no fear of the future. I don't feel like I have to collect this stuff. Things do go out of print. But if you notice, when things go out of print, they always seem to surface somewhere else. Like if Twilight Time presses a Blu-ray and it goes out of print, it usually pops up somewhere else within a few years. I know that's not ideal, and that's like, we should absolutely collect the stuff that we want when we want it. But I don't live in fear of things disappearing. Not being able to, like, I'll never see truck stop women again. because it went out of print or what. Like I don't feel that way because it will pop up. The movie has not been erased from existence. So that's a long-winded answer, but I do think it's a cool mission statement for Serial at Midnight. So I do want to thank you all so much for being here. This was a long one. This was not what we. Thanks. It's long because it was awesome. It's long because you guys had so many cool questions, and we had a great conversation. So I hope you had a good time. Thank you for coming. Thank you for checking out the video. Cool stuff this week on Serial at Midnight on the YouTube channel. Going to be doing some horror this week, but not all. You know, I know everybody's not into that, so we won't do nothing but horror. But it's going to be fun. So I hope you guys have a great October. We'll do another one of these soon. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. So have a great night, and I will back at you. See, I'm trying to do that, and I will catch you later, but I don't really want to end it that way because it's like we're here, we're all like together. So, but no, thank you so much for being here. They're thanking you, Producer Bree. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Bree. I should say that. Thank you so much because you kept us flowing. Because these questions pop up. Wait, they're up for like 3 seconds and then they're gone. So thank you so much for contributing your time, guys. Take care. Have a good night. Have a great rest of the weekend. It's almost over, but I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Have a wonderful October, and I will see you in the comments of the videos. Bye, guys.